Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be starting a new series where every video I'm going to be playing a new opponent in a rapid game. So that's a 10-minute or a 15-minute game. And today's video, I'm going to be playing a 10-minute game. And this is my game of the day. So I'm playing a 2596. So a very strong player. So I'm going to play d4. This is my main opening and he goes for knight f6. So I'm going to play c4. This is all mainline theory. So he goes for g6. So he's either going to play an opening called the Grunfield defense or the King's Indian defense. So d5 is Grunfield, bishop g7 is the King's Indian. So he's going to go for a King's Indian defense. Now I have my own special variation against the King's Indian, so I won't put too much thought into this. I'll just play it pretty quickly since this is all theory right now. And here is where the variations branch out. So he plays the main line, which is c5. So the main line is d5 now, and I'm going to play for something like queen d2 and long castles. So the point of knight a6, I think, is to either play for knight c7 and e6, or to play this, which I don't see the point of. So he's going to go for e6 this game, I think. That's what I see right now. So I'm going to play queen d2. I'm going to keep my options flexible for castle and queen or king side. Okay, so he's gonna go for an e-pawn push right now. So if I play knight here, that may allow bishop g4. The problem is if I go h4 going for an attack on the king, he can just go e6. So h4, e6, castles, takes, takes. And that position might not be the best for me because he can get a bishop here. Maybe that's what I'll take with this pawn though. So I think I'll go h4 in this position and see. So he goes h5, stopping my attack. So I think in this position, I'm going to go f3. And the point of f3 is to stop anything from coming to this square. And I'm going to put a knight on h3 and maybe to f2 and push for g4 so it's supported by my knight and my bishop. So he goes for this. So he's going to go for a6, b5 probably. So I'm going to go for my idea, knight h3. And he can take this, of course, if he wants to, but I'll just take back with my rook, and I see no problems. Okay, he's gonna go for b5 here. So I'm gonna go a4 to stop him from going b5. Of course, it was already defended enough, but I wanted to defend it even more. So he goes for e6. So I'm gonna go knight f2 now, and if he takes, I'm gonna take with my c pawn, not the e pawn, because that would open my king up too much. So the c pawn. And while I'm explaining my ideas, I'm not gonna waste too much time because I want to stay even with him. So he wants b5, that's clear. So I'm gonna go a5. So if he goes b5, I can do this move called en passant, and I can take the pawn back. Okay, so I'm gonna play this, and while it may look like a weird move, and it looks like a glitch, it's actually a rule of chess. So here I can castle kingside, and I think my position is fine. He has a weak pawn on a6, and my position looks pretty solid. His knight here on c7 isn't really doing much. It looks like a waste of a move. And he doesn't know where his bishop is going, so he puts the bishop on d7. So the bishop was defending this pawn, so that makes it more weak because he's removing a defender. So what are some moves in this position? I can go bishop h6, trading this bishop off, a strong bishop, but I like my pin on this right now. So if he ever moves his queen, maybe I'll go bishop h6 then. But right now I want to do something. Let's see. If he ever pushes this, I can always bring my bishop back and attack the rook. So I want to put my rook, I want to attack this pawn. That's what I want to do. But he might put a piece here, which is a bit annoying. So first, I might put a rook on e1. I might move it later, but right now, I don't have a clear plan. So I want to see what his plan is first, and then I can counter against it. So I think he's gonna put a piece on b5. That looks like the only logical thing he could do right now. Or move his queen. He might move his queen here, attacking this pawn. And then he might move his knight somewhere and open this bishop up and attacking my bishop. So there might be some problems. Okay, he's gonna do that. So I think I can go. So I played rook e1. So my idea is I could put a rook on b1, defending this pawn, but that's a waste of a move since I already moved it. So if I put a rook here, actually, a rook here, is it that bad? That's the question. I don't think it's too bad because I don't see another move. Maybe rook a2 though, so I can stack as well on this. So I think I'll try rook a2. After all, it's a rapid game and we don't have unlimited time to think, so I'll just play something and see if it works out. Now, knight h7, I'll just go bishop e3, or maybe even bishop f4 attacking this pawn, even though his rook defends it. His rook's kind of awkward right now, unless he can make something out of it. This is a Benoni type position, so the King's Indian could turn into a Benoni pawn structure, which is a completely different opening. So right now this looks like a mix of the openings of Benoni defense and a King's Indian defense. The King's Indian is more of a hyper-modern opening, so usually in chess you want to match white by taking the center as well. But, okay, anyway, back to the game. But a hyper-modern opening is you let the other color take the center, and then you counterattack with your piece later on in the game. But back to the game. So he puts a piece here, which isn't surprising. So I think my move is going to be just stacking my rooks on this file, putting more pressure on this pawn. So the right move is probably something like queen b7. He takes. I think that's an inaccuracy, because I take back with the knight. Of course, if I take with the queen, and he can take on this, because if I take, takes, my queen is hanging. So I'll take back with the knight. So he can probably move his knight here. Okay, he moves it here. He wants to open up his bishop. That's his idea. So I'm going to put a bishop here. So if he takes this pawn, then I'll win this pawn back. So it's an even exchange. Okay, I don't think that's the best move, because I thought I had rook b1. Maybe I'm mistaken though. I wonder if I just gave a pawn away for free. So rook b1. Rook b1, bishop back. I can take, queen takes, and put a queen here maybe. And after we exchange, this pawn's weak. So after something like rook here, I can go here maybe. So I'll go rook here and see how it goes. I'm kind of getting low on time, so I expect, yeah, I expect bishop e5 or bishop g7. Those are probably his two best moves, I think. But it depends. He can't defend this bishop, so he'll have to move it. And of course, his rook is being defended by his queen, so this is not a pin. But so I'm basically down a pawn right now, but I'm hoping to get compensation for it. That's my idea. So he moves it back. So I'm going to take his rook, and after he takes, I want something like queen here. Yeah, and after queen here, he has to exchange. If he doesn't exchange, then, like if he moves his queen back here, then this pawn is loose. So he must exchange on here. So I'll pre-move it. That means I'm taking an advance, but I won't pre-move right now for the sake of the video. So I can take. He's thinking right now. I don't know what he's thinking about. Maybe he's thinking about rook here, but then I can just take and go here, right? So I don't know what he's thinking, but he should just take my queen and play for an advantage with his extra pawn. I'm probably worse in this position, I would say, but it's not obvious how I'm worse. He has to still prove it to me. Okay, yeah, he takes, of course, so he can't move this knight because this pawn would hang, and this pawn's loose, and his knight's misplaced here. So I have a lot of compensation, actually, and my knights can spring to life pretty easily. Maybe a threat. Okay, he defends right now. So my threat right now is to go here and to take on this pawn, because if he takes, his knight will hang. That's my threat right now. And if he moves the knight, okay, so he finds his own threat. So the thing is if I take this pawn, my knight will hang, but this pawn also hangs, and this pawn is weak, and there's no way to defend this pawn. So I think the trade is good for me. And I take him. I don't think he can defend this pawn, but I might be missing something. He can't attack me. Okay, he attacks this pawn too. But then this pawn is hanging. So I think takes. I can take this, I'm pretty sure. So after I take, he can take here, but this pawn is also loose. So taking is a mistake because of this, of course. He has to. Maybe he takes and plays this. But then I have knight to f4, check, king here. And after you move the rook, I can take the knight. So this position is tricky for both sides, and we equalize on time. So, okay, he takes, we obviously take. And rook here, okay, obviously I can take this and go into, I can take, yeah, that's not good for me. So I'll probably just go into a draw. After all, he's much higher rated than me, so a draw is perfectly fine for me. He takes with the knight. So I can go knight here, where I threaten this check, right? I can also go knight here attacking his rook. So knight here, rook check, king, maybe king here actually. Oh, then there's a pin, so he goes here. I'll take, and it's a draw. Yeah, this looks like a draw because 3 pawns versus 3 with knights on the board. That's a pure draw. And of course he can't go something like here because his rook is pinned right now. So he has to check and defend his rook when he moves the knight. So I assume he'll go here. Yeah, he does. So are there any chances for a win right now? I don't think so. Yeah, after something like check. So I'll just trade. I don't think I'll mind a draw in this position. I'll offer him a draw if he wants one. Okay, he declines my draw, so he wants to push for a win. Okay, I don't see how he pushes for a win in this position, though. Of course, some things can still happen. There's not a lot of chances for a win, but he might try and swindle me. I'm gonna just bring my king around, possibly. Okay, I'm gonna bring my king up. After knight here, I'm gonna go here. He might go f6. Okay. I can go here after takes, knight here, here, and here. So that's not a free pawn. Let's see. Okay, where can I go? If I go here, there's no mate threat. If I go king here, right? If I go here, there's no check with the knight. So I think I'll go here, but I need to play faster because I don't want to get too low on time. But this should be a draw, I think. My king's way more active than his, though, so maybe I'm pushing for something. But I think after this, he can't check me because my knight will just take, and he has no checks on me with his knight. So I think after takes, it looks like a pretty drawish endgame. Yeah, okay, he wants something else. So I'll go here and we can still trade. He could maybe take, and fork me right here like this. Take, king takes, pawn takes, king takes, check. But then I just side scoot and I assume this is still a draw. Okay, he goes for this. It's cute, but I don't think it works. Yep, and I just go here, and after it takes, no matter where he goes, I'm gonna go king here. So king here, king here, king here. He has to go back, and it's a draw. He has nothing. Okay, he takes, and it's a draw. So I think this was a pretty good game. Let's go over it quickly. So I think in this position, so this is all normal. The main line is to put the knight here, but I didn't go for that. I have a special variation versus this. So this is all main line. And I think the idea with h4 is very aggressive, going for h5, just trying to attack this king. But normally, a move instead is probably something like bringing the knight here, so you can castle. But anyways, I played h4, and he counters it. He had some concerns in the position about if I played h5, so he put his own pawn on h5 to stop that. And after f3, I'm just blocking any pieces from coming here. And I think usually when black plays a6 in these positions, it's almost always correct to play a4. There's with some exceptions. So a4 is a common move, and he's attacking my center. And I don't think I missed anything in this position. I think a5 is pretty common. So this right here, this is probably correct from both of us. And I think rook e1 was an inaccuracy, by the way. I think a better move might have been rook a2 right away, maybe something like rook b1, even bishop e3. I think because rook e1, after this, my rook belongs on b1, but by playing this and then this, I'm wasting a tempo, so that's not as good. And that's why I played rook a2, because if I played this, which is probably one of the better moves, I'm still wasting a tempo, which I should have played right away. So rook a2, trying to make complications. And he puts a piece on b5, trying to strengthen this pawn on a6, which makes sense. So after I still double, after all, if I take with my queen, then there's a spin and this pawn is hanging. So I took back with the knight. And here, even though he got a pawn, I think I got good compensation with this. Of course, I had some concerns about a check, but I just assumed I would go king here, and this knight, this pawn's hanging, so he exchanged. Something else he could have done is probably maybe rook here, and maybe something after takes knight to probably knight here. It's still equal because I think even though he's a pawn up, I get compensation. So he defends, and my idea is clear, but he has this, which led to the draw, right? So he takes after I take. My knight hangs here, but the problem was his knight was defending this pawn, but it took this. So once he took this and took this, I can take here, and he's still a pawn up. I didn't lose anything extra. He can't put his rook here or rook here, and he can't move it back to defend, right? So he tried to make counterplay of his own, and I took, and after taking, he goes here. But the problem was here, I think, after I take, if he goes rook here right away, then I go here, and this is pinned, and I'm going to take that. And also, taking here, I assumed c4 wasn't good for him as well, because I had knight f4, I explained that. And his rook is under attack, and his knight, if I go here. So, and after a check, my king would come here, and once the rook moved again, then I would take the knight. So that was winning. And after here, this just fizzled out into a drawn endgame. Yeah, he tried to make chances, but I think this check wasn't the best if he wanted chances, because I was always worried about if my king came here, then these pawns would be weak because of the knight on this outpost. So I think allowing my king to come in, because before here, my king can't come in this way because of the knight, but playing a check allows my king to come in. And here I felt like I was doing perfectly fine for a draw. And yeah, after a few more exchanges, if he goes here, of course, then I just come here. And after the king goes back to here, I just come here and it's a draw. So yeah, and he just traded off. So I think that was a good training game, first of all. I think both of us played well, and it fizzled out into a draw. So thank you for watching. Of course, I hope you enjoyed the video and my thoughts on this game. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.